I'm gonna start recording right now. Perfect. Glad I didn't forget. Your microphones are muted, but please do speak to us throughout the webinar. We have prepared a very exciting outline for us today to discuss. If you want to share your part of the story, if you do things differently, if you want to ask any questions to me or to Connor, our guest speaker today, please do so. Send it through the live Q&A. And at the end, we're going to have a dedicated 15 minutes to answer all the questions that you guys sent through. A reminder, please try to fill the 2-minute surveys. If you haven't, it's provided in the link that we sent. It's in the chat right now, and it's also in your email, the reminder email for that webinar. So please fill it and send it to us. We'd like to know how we're doing, especially that we're considering extending and continuing the course. Also, don't forget to share and follow us on social media at Fluorosat using the hashtag virtual agronomy 101. So we are almost at the second to last session. We are in session number 5. And by now we have covered, hey Connor, we can see you. Thank you. And by now we've actually covered most of the theory part. So we've talked about remote sensing. We've talked about digital tools. We've talked about modeling. How is it being dynamic? How does everything fit together? So we've covered all of that. And keep in mind, all of this is available in the recordings. You can go to the page and you can see you can see all of these videos if you want to go and refresh on any of the specific theory that we talked about previously. And based on your feedback from the audience requesting more time to hear from our innovative guests, they want to hear about their experience, about their challenges and their practices. They want to hear about how did it work for them? What did they do? Their journey, as well as what worked and what didn't. So today we changed things up in this webinar, and I hope you like the change. So speaking about innovative guests, we do have with us today, very, very, very happy and thankful that Connor, you were able to join us. A very successful precision ag leader in the space. And that is you, Connor Langford. Thank you so much for joining us today and welcome to the webinar. Connor is the Precision Ag Manager from Valley Ag, the winner of the Ag Pro Precision Impact Award in 2018. And Connor's team has been servicing many growers in the Pacific Northwest, providing crop nutrition, crop protection, and agronomy services. Welcome to the session, Connor, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, to kick us off, for those that aren't familiar with your organization, can you tell us a little bit more about Valley Ag and the story of how your Precision Ag program started?
Yeah, you bet. I'd be happy to. So Valley Ag is a crop nutrition, crop protection, and agronomy services retailer in the Pacific Northwest of the United States. We have 24 locations in Idaho, Oregon, and Utah, and then we also service customers in Nevada and Wyoming. So a fairly large geography that we take care of. We work with a lot of diverse crops. So Idaho obviously is famous for potatoes. We work with a lot of potato customers here, but we also work with guys that grow sugar beets, barley, wheat, hops, onions, mint, a variety of vegetable seed crops. We work with guys that raise corn. And then over in the Willamette Valley of Oregon, we work with growers who raise hazelnuts and grass seed and, again, onions and a variety of vegetable crops over there as well as blueberries and some strawberries as well. So we work with a lot of diverse crops, and I came to work for Valley Ag in 2016. So I've been here just over 4 years. And when I started here, they asked me to build a precision program that would be good for our customers, and that would help tie those customers to us, help to create some loyalty, and to bring some value added services to the things that we were already offering. At the time, here at Valley Ag, they didn't have a centralized precision ag offering. We had some crop advisors that were, or sales agronomists that were doing some things on their own, but it was really hit or miss, you know, kind of what was going on. So the first year we had just kind of an a la carte offering. We offered satellite imagery, we offered EC mapping, we offered grid sampling and zone sampling and variable rate fertilizer applications. And then that fall, we decided to really look at our approach and created that fall what we call the Platinum Precision Program. And that's a subscription-based offering that we make to our customers. It's a yearly subscription, and it includes services like farm management software, satellite imagery, and then it includes options that growers can choose from, like soil moisture monitoring or EC mapping or ultra high resolution imagery. And then for those customers, we'll build, you know, variable rate prescription maps. We'll help them with their yield data. And really, we found this approach to work pretty well, where we work with a diverse set of crops and growers across multiple states. It allows them some things that everybody uses, and then it allows the growers to kind of customize the package to their operation and to the outcomes that they're hoping to achieve.
Awesome. And today we want to dig a little bit deeper. We want to dig into an understanding from you a little bit about the different components of how to build a precision ag program like Platinum that you described, how to build it, what are the different parts of it. We're going to dig deeper and dive into those components of an award-winning precision ag service that your team delivers. We'll talk and discuss the decision support system that you guys use. We'll discuss the business cases and the business model and how that evolved from 2016 to 2020. And last but not least, the biggest question that we get a lot of our growers and a lot of our customers share is the challenges, adoption challenges, building a team that can live to that service and apply and use precision ag, and also getting traction when partnering with your grower and bringing your grower to the journey of precision ag and making him understand and see the benefit of it. So we're going to talk about those three parts of the program itself. And of course, I mean, let's start first by gauging the audience, our participants today. I want to hear their view on precision ag. So I'm going to launch the poll. It's 5 quick questions. The very first one is just to understand your background. Are you more on the reseller side or on the precision ag? Are you a service provider? So tell us a little bit about your occupation. It's 3 questions. The second question is about what do you think are the main challenges when adopting precision ag? Is it becoming digital? Is it seeing an ROI and demonstrating it to your grower? Is it, you know, you need training, you need to see how other people did it and understand more? And the last question is, what is your main driver for adoption? So I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes. If you guys could just log in your answers for this poll. Perfect. I'm seeing more people logging in, so. Okay. Okay. I think let's just give it 30 more seconds just to make sure that everyone logs in. Okay, awesome. Thank you for your answers. I'm going to end it and let's look at the results together. So we've got a good audience today from academia and research. Main challenges for adoption is the lack of the knowledge, the need for the training, you know, hence we've got Connor today, and that's what we're trying to bring to everybody's local experience. So everybody within their team, we're trying to identify leaders in the industry and bring their experience to you so we can all learn from their experience. And what is the main driver of adoption is improve efficiency on my farm. Indeed, that's legit. Improving efficiency on your farm, increasing your business, building out your business, providing better agronomy. I am sharing the results now so you guys can look at them as well. Perfect. So let's start by talking about the agronomy, the service itself. And let's talk about the agronomist perspective. So over the course of the season, there's many different tasks that happen. You know, early on, you start by looking into how you wanna monitor your crop performance. Did emergence happen? Is it uniform? Right after that, you get busy into crop stress, scouting teams, going to the fields, trying to find weeds, early diseases, find stressed plants. And then there's the nitrogen application that can happen for different crops over different times of the year in different formats. But the reality of this is that it's not so linear as what this animation shows. It's not where one application stops and then the second one application ends and then the second one starts. It's more like it's more complicated, and we need to account for more complication than what this figure assumes. And in your case, Connor, adding on top of all of the things happening at the same time, you deal with the Pacific Northwest. You deal with an area that has at least 60 different crops. So that means a broader range of, like, from potatoes to sugar beets to wheat, across different geographies. So how flexible does the precision ag program needs to be? How do the tools help you in building the flexibility? I want to hear more from you about that. And how do you bring in all these tools across the different geographies and crop types?
Yeah, so flexibility actually we have found is pretty critical. So it's critical, one, because we have agronomists that are working with, you know, all of the crops that you mentioned, right? So one agronomist may be working with a grower that raises potatoes and hops, for example, or potatoes and onions and wheat and corn. And so having that flexibility to, you know, work with multiple crops and be able to use really one or as minimal amount of systems as possible to accomplish that is really valuable to those agronomists. It's also been valuable to us on the side of of taking this to our customers, right? We have found that our growers all have diverse needs, and so and want to, you know, have different desires as far as what outcomes they would like to achieve. So for some growers, they feel that they have a need to improve their water management, and so in those instances, we can use tools like soil moisture probes or, you know, ultra high resolution flights that provide thermal imagery to help us see, you know, if we have water stress happening. Other growers are interested in maybe managing their fertility better or different, and so we find variable rate fertilizer applications or zone sampling may be more applicable in those instances. So, you know, to your point, having a system or having a package that is flexible and allows for both our agronomists and our growers to work together to determine, you know, what outcomes they'd like to achieve, and then, you know, what tools they're going to use to do that has been very critical for us.
Mm-hmm. So we often hear from our users and from our community that, you know, finding an issue is not like solving it. If you find an irrigation leak, okay, no matter what time of the season you're in, you can always walk into the pivot or try to get to your irrigation system and try to fix the leak or change a nozzle or do that. But sometimes, like, for example, we're talking about, for example, take crop stress. If crop stress comes back and reports that this is an area that's being stressed, finding it is something, and then doing something about it is something else. What has been your experience between the balance? How do you choose which information you want to take an action on and which ones? Or, like, is there a threshold? Is it because of a certain size that's when you decide to take an action? Walk us through a little bit of your decision when it comes to the agronomy side, the digital tool giving this recommendation, this insight. How do I act upon it?
Yeah, you bet. So the way that we think about it here is we think about it in the terms of really the decision-making process, right? So any time we're making a decision, we're first going to collect data, right? So we're going to collect data, and then we're going to analyze that data. Then we're going to use that data to make a decision and hopefully take an action. And you know, in agriculture, like in many things today, it's really easy to collect a lot of data in all reality. There's sensors, there's satellite imagery, there's farm management software. There's harvest data. There's a lot of things that we can look to find data. Going through that data and analyzing that takes some time. And today where we're at, we feel like that generally is best done by someone who has some experience doing it, right? It seems that once an agronomist or a precision specialist has spent some time with data, pretty soon they start to realize, hey, you know what, I can ignore this stuff, but when I see this thing, I need to focus on that. And then comes that decision point, right? And realistically, every sales agronomist and every customer probably approaches this a little bit differently. But for a lot of our customers, they're on a regimented approach today to their crop management. So, for example, a potato farmer is going to put an early blight fungicide on to protect that crop. So as we are scouting and finding things, our thresholds really aren't. Today we're not as worried about, hey, can I take action on only that spot? Realistically, we look at this and think, okay, hey, we're starting to see a problem. Let's address the whole field, right? Today where we're at, we're very preventative still, and so the threshold isn't we don't have to have a big area of a problem to feel like we can take an action. But really and truly, where the value is created is on taking the action, right? So we see this consistently with our customers, that if we can help them see that, hey, your precision ag system or this tool helped us get the data, our sales agronomists then become really the value creators of that data, because they're the ones that are analyzing it and looking at that, and then going to that customer with, here's what we think we ought to do. Here's the data, why we think we want to do that, or why you ought to do that. And then here's the action that we think you ought to take. So our approach has been to put that in the hands of our sales agronomists and try to train them and help them to be proficient at doing that, so that then they generate the value for the customer.
Makes sense. And speaking about the data, I mean, you said something very, very true, which is now we collect a whole bunch of data throughout the growing season. But let's talk a little bit about the in-season data. Like you collect, like you said, there's a lot of data coming in throughout in the season, and then you go through the phase of like, let's manage that data and set you up for that fall meeting with your grower. Come the fall, it's hard to think about the fall now that it's peak planting and it's action time. But fast forward, come a couple months from now, when your agronomist is sitting with his grower. What reports are you looking for? What information, what data do you bring up to that meeting that is gonna set you up for a more successful growing season?
Yeah, so I mentioned we offer some farm management software to our customers. It's collaborative with our sales agronomists, so they've got access to the same data that the grower has access to. In many instances, our sales agronomists are putting their recommendations there. If their recommendations in there, if our applicators are making those applications, they're creating actuals on that information and creating as applied records there. And then we're adding that to what the grower's putting in. So that piece of information we feel like is pretty critical. That allows our sales agronomists and our customers to sit down. You mentioned fall. So for us, during the fall, we're starting to look ahead at the next growing season. And so the ability to sit down and analyze, what did we do last year? Did we see anything that we felt like didn't work? Where were the pinch points? Is there anything that we felt like we could improve on? What's something that we didn't like that was an outcome, or what's something that we feel like we did well? It allows our sales agronomists to start having those conversations with those customers, and then having that record of the season field by field allows them to go in and really look at, okay, what did we do right, and what worked well and what didn't work well. As we think about fall as well, we also think about harvest. So for us, a couple of places where we try to use precision ag is around with our wheat, for example, or our barley. We try to look at remote sensing data and satellite imagery to help us decide, hey, is it time to turn off the irrigation? We don't want to get too much water out there and create conditions for disease, but we also don't want to create a situation where we drought stress this crop at a critical stage where we're really trying to finish it. So we try to use that data at that point. As well on our potato crop, for example, our growers are always trying to decide, okay, which of these fields have the legs essentially to make it later into the season and continue bulking these spuds. So where should we start? Where should we start harvesting? Where should we finish? And sometimes those decisions are made, are put off right up until the last moment, just to try to really generate as much yield with those potatoes as possible. So, remote sensing data, the farm management software data, looking at our soil moisture data, for example, can help us make some of those determinations on, are we plenty wet out here? Do we need to reduce the irrigation? One of the key things for us that we're always looking for is how do we make that, how do we surface some of that data and make it easier for our sales agronomists to get to it? So we talk about having a lot of data. How do we help them and help our customers kind of cut through the noise and really focus in on what they should be focused on at certain times of the year? And that piece isn't always easy, right? Again, today that's largely experience driven, and so that takes finding a sales agronomist who's done it and is willing to train another sales agronomist or a precision specialist, working with our sales agronomists to try and help them gain that experience, figure it out.
So when does the ROI discussion start? When is it at the end of the season? Is it throughout the season? When does that? And it's key because we've talked about ROI in this course. And if you zoom in and do the math, Precision Ag does come back with an ROI. It's very clear for the variable rate. We added in these areas, we look at the yield map, we see that indeed what we've done makes sense. Or in case of an insurance where we say this was the zoning, this was the size, this is it. So we are able to identify an ROI. So my question to you is, if you look at it and you want to start the program, how do you articulate the benefit of an ROI to the grower? Early on, what did you do when you first started? Did you reach out to a couple growers, had a couple acres, go through year one, and then hopefully you're lucky enough for action to happen on that field for you to, to show that you've been preventative and that the yield was good? Because I know in many cases, I know people that tried to do that and it happened to be a super drought year or extreme rain year, so they were not lucky. So tell us a little bit about the ROI, where it fits, where it comes to the conversation, and how it evolved from the 2016 to the 2020 services that you guys work on.
Yeah, you bet. So we've experienced all of that, right? We've had the perfect scenario where we set up the zones, do the soil sampling, do the variable rate application, and midway through the summer we get a hailstorm and everything's wiped out, and it comes back and it's a fine crop, but it wasn't as good as maybe the stuff that didn't get hailed on. And the question always was, well, obviously the variable rate didn't work, right? But so yeah, for us, basically what you described was what we did, right? So we had some customers who were experimenting and doing some things with precision ag really before we got into it. They were maybe experimenting with other services or had worked with other companies, and so we approached them and talked about what we were working on doing and how we planned to do it, and they were more than happy to participate with us, right? So we had some innovative customers that were really willing to jump right in with us and kind of take this journey. So the ROI conversation generally does happen in the fall after harvest is over, or even in the winter after everything's done, right? And the next season's crop is, the ground's prepped for that. And we start looking back at, okay, really that conversation of what did we do well? What would we like to do differently? And, for us, we really try to look at three things as we think about precision ROI. So the first is, did we increase yield, and can we demonstratively show that? So that would be the first thing. And then the second thing that we look at is did we reduce costs somewhere? Did we save you from having to make an application, or did we catch an issue that we could solve relatively easily? So we look at that. Did we save you money somewhere? And then the third thing that we look at pretty frequently and talk about with our customers a lot is did we make your life easier? You know, that part sometimes gets lost as we think about ROI, but you know, a farmer's time is worth something. And so if we were able to free up some extra time for them to go spend with their family, or if we were to free up them some time to go market their crop and pay attention to that piece better, you know, there's ROIs that are difficult sometimes to nail down with a dollar figure in those situations, but we often find that that is the case, right? A lot of times our customers will say, yeah, we knew that you guys were all over this, and we knew when we had a question about, you know, harvest timing, or should I be turning the water on or off, you guys were going to have the answer. So we were less concerned about it, and it allowed us to go focus on some of these other things. So, so yeah, so those three things are the things that we generally try to look at and talk about. And then for us, we, again, you know, we're fortunate to have innovative customers who were willing to allow us to share that information with more customers and talk about those experiences. So we tried to put together case studies that looked at, you know, what were the advantages for you as a grower for participating in our Platinum Precision program. Where were the things that you felt like you got the value of what you spent back out? And then we've shared those as we go each fall and market our Platinum subscription.
Each fall you go do that, try to come out with you know, newer case studies and experiences to share with potential customers.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean ROI is and the way you described it makes sense, especially from a grower perspective. They want to make sure that this was beneficial, and it really did help. So you've mentioned early that, you know, your business model has evolved. You started as a la carte, and then you moved into the all-in-one package. But you're still at some point a combination of these two approaches when it comes to the precision ag customer. There's the all-in-one package that does require some investment on the side of the program. Like, you will have to have personnel, buy the imagery, buy an analytics platform, and then have the boots on the ground. And then there's the other approach, which is the on-demand service. We've seen that in other parts of the world where they want to subscribe to a precision ag tool, but they only want to use it if rain happens, or if the condition, if indeed the price of the fertilizers reach a point where they want to do X, Y, and Z. So there's mainly those two different approaches, and I'm sure there's others in the precision ag mentality of building a service. Can you tell us a little bit about where you guys started, where you ended, what works? Is it one? Is it either or is it a combination of both?
Yeah, so for us, it's a little bit of a hybrid of both. So I mentioned that the first year we were really the first 2 years we were an all-in-one package. So a grower purchased the subscription and received this, you know, whether it didn't matter, they received every grower received the same services and options. And at the end of year 2, we brought in a group of our sales agronomists, and we really just wanted to understand, like, what's working well, what are you hearing from your customers, like what would help you be more successful selling this, you know, what do you need us to change? And one of the things that we heard really loud and clear was we need more flexibility with the package. We need to have the ability to keep some of the things that we heard really loud and clear. There were certain parts that every customer loved and was utilizing. And then we heard that, hey, we heard, you know, I have a customer that likes that, and I have a customer that doesn't like that. So is there some way that we could tweak this? So we ended up creating kind of really a hybrid model, where now we've got what we call the base package, which includes the farm management software. It includes the satellite imagery on the whole farm. It includes us building variable rate prescriptions and helping with harvest data. And then on the other side of that, we've got what we call the options bank, and that includes things like the EC mapping, or the ultra high resolution imagery, or the soil moisture probes. And we let the customers use a certain amount of their subscription dollars towards those tools and those services. And what we have found then is that we do run into a little bit of that, right? We may have a customer who says, as they sign up, you know, I really just want to use my options bank for soil sampling, for example. I know that I'm going to do variable rate lime, and so I'm going to grid sample, and I want to use that credit for that. Well, then we get into the in-season portion of the season, and all of a sudden they're asking the question of, well, I'm trying to make a decision about my irrigation, for example, on my grass seed crop. So, what tools do I have available to me? And then maybe we start to talk about our ultra high resolution option, and in many cases, then they'll purchase that if the need arises, or they may not. They may decide that they can do without it. But that hybrid approach has worked really well for us because, again, I mentioned our customers are diverse. They have different expectations and different desires in terms of what they would like to achieve with our Platinum subscription. And so it really gives them the flexibility to kind of tailor the upfront package to what they need. And then we continue to make options available to them throughout the season, so that if something does happen and they need more information or they'd like more data to be able to make a good decision, we can quickly spin that up and get them that information.
And do you see all growers signing up at once, or does it happen gradually? Do you see, like, throughout the season, you've got more people coming on the Precision Ag?
Yeah. So typically for us, it's for our packages, growers are signing up from about November through March. And then we see customers coming in and needing, one-off precision services really throughout the growing season from, probably February through August. So our Platinum customers typically sign up kind of over a period of time, and then as needed, or as guys need information, those customers kind of trickle in over the rest of the year.
Yeah. And something I'm really excited about this season, because we're going to be working together with you and your team, is your team. So I want to talk a little bit about, and I want you to give me the coach perspective of how this team have grown from 2016 till today, internally. And this is a huge problem, a huge challenge for Precision Ag, which is adoption within the agronomist team and adoption within the growers that you service. So can you tell us a little bit about the challenges and the journey of your team? How did they start from adopting the Precision Ag, being well equipped to use the tools, and doing the great job that they do today?
Yeah, so in 2016, it was just me for the first year. So I was the Precision Ag team, did it all. Yeah, it was a lot of work. And then in the spring of 2017, we hired a precision specialist to help, specifically over in Oregon. And then in 2017, we hired 2 more precision specialists to help in Idaho. And really our precision team, I mean, I have to give a lot of credit to our leadership here at Valley Agronomics. The general manager here, the CEO, they're all in on technology and on precision. And so our mantra from the beginning has been that every sales agronomist here should be a precision agronomist. We need each member of the crop advisory team to know something about precision ag and be able to talk about it and understand how to use it. I'll tell you, we're not there today. I mean, we don't have 100% of our crop advisors on board, but every year we get more on board. And really, where we tried to focus in the first year was just, we looked for those folks that were going to be the champions, right? They were interested or had been dabbling with precision in the past, or may have been doing some things on their own. We tried to really help them and make sure that they were successful, and then tried to use their success stories to encourage, and inspire other members of the team to get on board and to go with us down the road. And that's taken, it's taken time. Like I mentioned, we're not all the way there yet, but see improvements every year, we feel like. And then the other piece that we feel like has been pretty critical has been having those precision specialists for us as an organization. We don't want our sales agronomists to feel like they're out there kind of on their own without a support system. It can be scary to go to a loyal customer that's been doing business with you for a lot of years and ask them to change and do something different or experiment, right? So we've really tried to put a support system in place to say, hey, look, like, if you get in over your head, like, there's going to be a lifeline. We're here to help you, whether it's with the technology or the explanation or whatever you need. And then we've encouraged our precision specialists to really, integrate and spend time with those sales agronomists so that they understand those sales agronomists, understand the things that they're trying to accomplish, understand the things that they're worried about, and understand the agronomy as well, so that they can help lift there. Training is always a challenge for us as an organization. We do a lot of in-person trainings over the winter. So we'll go around to locations and bring in folks from the companies that we work with and set up trainings. We try to actually do internal trainings in the mornings, usually for our crop advisors and our sales teams. And then we'll bring in and invite growers in the afternoon to do trainings with them. Grower relationships, we have found that really, it's critical that you spend some time with these customers to understand what they want to accomplish, and then really try to kind of tailor your sales approach, or as you talk about the value or the value proposition that the precision tools bring to the table to the things that they want to accomplish. And where we find the greatest success is when we get everybody on board. If we can get our sales agronomists, pulling in the harness, if we can get our precision specialists pulling in the harness, and if the customer will engage, I don't know of an instance yet where we have failed. If one of those elements isn't fully engaged, we still have pretty good success. If nobody's engaged, then it's a mess, right? Then usually that blows up on us. But we have found, it deepens the relationship between the sales agronomist and the grower. They're having conversations that they wouldn't have had in the past. They may have just talked about products or, the weather, but now they're having really good conversations about that grower's operations, the things that he wants to accomplish, the things that they're worried about. And we feel like that's increased the level of trust between our teams here and our customers.
Yeah, and all these three different categories, I mean, they work together, from the sales to the precision specialist to the grower. All three of them combined expertise is the guarantee for the grower to have an excellent season. And all three of them look at that information generated from tools like on Fluorosat. They look at crop performance reports and crop stress reports. Is there a difference in the information that need to be delivered for those three, or is it the same piece of information? Does the tool need to evolve further and provide more insight on different levels for the three of them, or is it best when all three of them know exactly what's going on and combined they're able to address it?
Yeah, so from my perspective there, I think that the grower actually, if we're just talking purely agronomy, I think it's great for all three of them to really have the same information. That again helps, we feel like, just increase the level of trust between our customers and our sales agronomists, because we're willing to be transparent about the data that we're looking at and the analysis that we're making. And we really feel like that shows that, hey, we'll be transparent with you. There's nothing, we're not trying to slip anything past you or by you. So really for us, when we're just talking purely agronomy, I think it makes sense to have everybody have the same information.
So if you want to give a suggestion or tips to agronomists and to precision ag team leaders on the call today, and they're going to be watching the video, to achieve a similar success that you have achieved in the team that you've built, what do you think are like the three things that they need to focus early on and build a strong core around?
Yeah, so if I were starting over today and I was thinking about the things that I'd learned here, I think the first thing is, really and truly, it's important to have leadership buy-in in the organization that you're in. If the guys who are the boss are bought in and are willing to help champion these causes, that goes a long way. So I think that's pretty critical. The second thing I think would be to really do some analysis of the folks that you're going to be working with, and try to find the ones that are willing to experiment, are willing to take a little bit of risk, to maybe challenge the status quo, and then focus on those folks first to go find your win stories or your successes. And then if you can turn those people into your cheerleaders, or into the folks that are in, because you got some early wins or some successes there, that goes a long ways, right? I always think it's funny here in our organization, like I may come into a meeting and talk about something that I've seen another location do, or maybe it's my own idea and I'm just throwing it out there to see what the reaction, see what the thoughts are around it. And in often cases, guys are like, yeah, that's fine, Connor, but you're just the technology guy. Like you're not out in the field every day with us. You don't know, And, but then if I have an agronomist who has done that and he says, hey guys, like we did this and this is what my grower thought and this is what we saw, that gets everybody's attention. And then all of a sudden the questions start coming, right? Well, what did you do about this? Or what were you worried about this? And so if you can find those kind of internal champions and really focus on them for the first year and get them to experience some success, that success can then help propel you forward and help you find others who will be willing to experiment and do it with you. And then the third thing that I would say is that I think customer support and service is really critical. A lot of this technology is new. Some of it's proven, but some of it still has some glitches and some things that can go wrong with it, just like any technology. And what we have found is that, providing really great customer service can go a long ways to easing any frustration that comes along from the technical aspect of it. And my first year here, actually, we had 2 drones that we were flying, and we had one of them. We were sharing it. We were just flying with our biggest customer, and we had so many problems with those drones. I thought for sure I was going to get fired. I thought for sure that we were going to lose that customer. And so I just told them one day, I was out in the field with the guy that was flying the drone, and they have the farmer himself, and then his farm manager happened to stop by. And I just said, you guys, I'm so sorry that this has not worked out like we had hoped. And the farm manager, he just kind of chuckled and he said, it's okay. Like he said, every time we've had a problem, you're here, you're on the farm, you're trying to figure it out, you're trying to solve it, you're on the phone with the company, you're working through it. He goes, if you never showed up, we'd have a problem. But the fact that you're here goes a long ways to helping us feel better about doing this. And so that customer's actually turned into one of our best platinum customers. We do a lot with them. They're very innovative, so we bring a lot of the new things that we want to try to them. And so again, I coach my team all the time. I just say, we're gonna have problems with the technology. It's inevitable. We're gonna have some hiccup. We're not gonna have satellite on the day that we need it. But if you guys can just do everything you can to take care of that customer and figure out a way to get them through whatever's got them stuck, that goes a long ways to just easing that frustration that comes with working with technology.
Excellent advice, Connor. Excellent. I'm just gonna turn it on to see some of the questions that our audience has sent us. There's one question from Barry asking, what is your data analysis process and how many data analysts do you have on staff?
Yeah, so our data
you have us on staff. We analyze the data for you.
Yeah, so for 2020, it's Fluorosat and Fluorosense is part of our data analysis strategy. And then we have 80 sales agronomists. This might seem old school, but our approach today is to, as customers get in, to train them on, here's what this data means. Here's some things you should be looking for. And they really dig into that, and we'll go through that throughout the season if it's in season data, and do the analysis, and then try to help growers find insights in that. And then our precision team is doing the same thing. So in the purest sense of the word data analysts, they may not be data analysts, but we consider them that as they go through the data that we collect using our precision tools and help find insights to then take action on with their customers.
Great. So Barry's also asking, what are the qualifications to be a precision ag agronomist?
Yeah, great. That's a great question. So, so for our organization, we look for folks that have strong customer relation skills first and foremost. And then we also look for folks that have, a degree or some experience in agronomy. And then really from there, we actually do the majority of the training internally. So this may diminish my qualifications in a lot of your eyes, but I actually have a degree in international studies and learned precision agronomy coming out of college and working for a small consulting firm. So, we really feel like, if we can take somebody who understands farming, who understands agronomy, we can teach them how to use the tools and help them get some experience relatively quickly for going through the data and then bringing things that are valuable. And we look for things that are maybe not overly glamorous, right? We like to think that if we can hit a home run every once in a while, that's fantastic. But if we'll score more runs just getting singles and doubles. And so we really try to just keep it simple, and we can train guys on simple. So
perfect. And with that background, what you said just makes it more impressive how much you know, Connor. So it's crazy how much you know about agronomy and precision ag. A question from John is, he's saying, I wonder, after the onset of precision ag tools and remote sensing of fields, what technologies are still lacking today to make your job easier? And that's a very good question about like, how can tools, for example, take Fluorosat, we analyze, we tell you where to look, we give you an overview of where things are going and what's the crop status. So what's next? What is lacking? What do you want to see those tools doing come end of 2020? Because you know how fast we take an idea and take it to action.
yeah, for sure. So I've alluded to it a few times. I mean, we collect a lot of data today, and if we look at our system and feel like there's a weakness somewhere, we know that we have a weakness on really analyzing the data as timely as we should in some cases, and then using that data to help our customers make a decision. And so for us, this year we're going to work with Fluorosat, and we're interested in their ability to use, the AI and the machine learning and the models to really help us sift through that data and then do some analysis to then surface hopefully insights for our guys to then just get them pointed in the right direction, right? Like if we can help them catch things quicker and sooner, we know that they can do the analysis, determine the best course of action, go talk to the customer, help make that action happen. But we know from experience that we've had things that we could have solved for customers that we just missed because we either didn't get to the data timely enough, or just in the heat of battle we missed it. I imagine everyone on this call understands how farming can be sometimes. There's sometimes just a lot of things that come at you. And so, things can get missed doing it the way that we're doing. So if I were saying, what things are missing today, I'm very interested to see how, the AI and the machine learning piece evolves over time to help surface insights for our agronomists and for our customers.
Awesome. Leandro just sent in a question, and I think that's the last one we can take live. He's asking about Valley Ag implementation of variable rate and management. What do you guys do? What data sources do you use? And was it applied continuously variably in space or in zones? What is your experience with variable rate and Valley Ag practices?
Yeah, so I'll just talk to my strength, I guess, which would be here in Southeast Idaho on potatoes. So here on the potatoes, we have really kind of two subsets of growers, one that really believes in grid samples and then one that believes in zone samples. And so we'll use grid samples in some instances and soil sample that way, and then use that data to drive our end recommendations. And for us, what we're actually going to fertigate throughout the season, but we have limited capacity with our equipment to variable rate that nitrogen. So really what we're trying to do is kind of level set in the spring with our variable rate nitrogen application, so that then we can do a flat rate nitrogen application over the course of the summer to keep everything even. So we've also used some remote sensing data. We do take tissue samples season long. And so we will use remote sensing data to try to help us make sure we're in the right spots for taking those tissue samples as well.
Excellent. So we're running a little bit over our time, so I'm just gonna thank everyone for sending in their questions. If there's more questions, send them in. We'll make sure I'll follow up by email. Just to recap today, we talked about the different components of a successful precision ag service, what you, Connor, and your team provide. We talked about the support system and how important it's to be flexible across different commodities, different crops and geographies. We talked about the business model, how it's key, highlighting an ROI, the three things that you identified as important when you're considering building an ROI case, I found that super insightful. Thank you for sharing. As well as we talked about the team, the growers, and the journey. It's not going to be successful. It's going to be testing, and the sooner you start, the better chances is you're going to be better come the next growing season. Thank you so much, Connor, for joining us today. Thank you for sharing your experience and your insight. And I'm very sure that our audience has taken a lot out of your input today. Next week, we're going to be diving more into the practical tips with an experienced agronomist as well. He's worked with wheat, corn, potato, rice, and we're going to be talking about tips and tricks throughout the growing season. And it's going to be a lot of the practical stuff that he does, he recommends, and bringing that experience to our participants. One more thing for the people that are watching the video on YouTube, please go back to your emails. There is a survey in your reminder email to attend the webinar. Please click on it and do the survey so we can hear also your feedback about the course. Tell us if you like this format, if you highlight, if there's anything you want us to change or give us feedback on, please do. Again, thank you so much, Connor. We really appreciate you joining us today. Thank you for everything you've shared with us. And we, especially me and everybody at FluSat, we're very excited for our common journey this growing season, planting 2020.
Yeah, no, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate the opportunity for sure, and looking forward to the season as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Connor. Thank you, guys. You'll find the recording in your inbox a few hours from now. Check out the resources and don't forget to follow us on social media. Thank you so much. See you next week, next Thursday, same time, same link. Next week is session 6. See you then. Thank you, guys. Bye.